Good afternoon and welcome to the Midday News. I'm Shamela Pullen. Here's what we have in the bulletin.
One man dead, several in custody after early morning robbery at Western Union in Portland. PNP and JLP defer on tax policy. And later in sports, doubleheader at Stadium East Field as action from Jamaica Premier League continues.
Now the details. One man is dead and several others in police custody following an early morning robbery attempt at a Western Union outlet in Hanover, Portland. According to reports, about 2 a.m., a security guard heard noises at the back of the building and alerted the business operator. Upon investigation, he saw armed men trying to enter the building. By then, the Hanover police responded. 3 suspects were shot. 1 died while being treated in hospital. The security guard was not harmed.
Excellent job, guys. Some criminal coming from the Western Union. Yes, I saw you look at the owner, spot them bank camera and call police. So I said the job dealt with. Yeah, man, I ride us, man. I ride us, you know, what seaside everybody take with themselves go. I look at them, never know the place either. Man, just run up and down like idiot.
Oh, so you're strange people.
Yeah, strange people, man. Yeah, man, people, my big police, kill the man. Yeah, because them won't come back. If they, one of them come back, they must send them friend.
The cost of living battle has taken center stage on the campaign trail with the People's National Party and the Jamaica Labour Party, laying out different promises on personal income tax. O'Shane Masters reports.
Opposition leader and PNP President Mark Golding, addressing a mass rally in central Manchester Sunday night, declared that a PNP government would raise the income tax threshold. That means thousands of Jamaicans earning below that amount would not pay any income tax. Mr. Golding argued that his plan would bring much-needed relief to working-class Jamaicans who are struggling to make ends meet.
Under the PNP government that is to come, we will be increasing the tax threshold so that persons who currently pay tax at 25%, if they're earning up to $3.5 million a year, they will be paying tax at 0% under the next PNP government. We will be raising the threshold to give them a tax-free income.
But in St. James, Prime Minister Andrew Holness delivered his own counterpunch. He told JLP supporters that his administration, if given a third term, would gradually slash the personal income tax rate.
Over time, we will reduce the base rate of personal income tax from 25% to 15% on a phased basis and shift gradually from direct to indirect taxation, which will allow hard-working Jamaicans to keep more of their paycheck.
Currently, Jamaicans pay 25% on annual taxable income, while those earning above $6 million are taxed at 30%.
I hear the Labourites are talking about adjusting the rate of income tax. But that is going to benefit those who are very, very wealthy more than it will benefit those who are less wealthy. Because the rate, once reduced for them, means that they will be paying less tax because they're earning more to begin with. We are going to deal with that matter in a way that benefits those who need it most.
When you do the income tax threshold, you have to be careful that you don't ask the person who is not working to pay more tax, while the person who is working pays less tax. You have to be careful. So you have to do it in a way that is balanced.
However, whichever plan is chosen by the electorate come September 3, the government will face tough questions about how to balance revenue with demands for public services. O'Shane Masters, TVJ News.
The Jamaica Labour Party has promised to provide a grant to university students who are in good standing with the Student Loan Bureau if it forms the next government. The announcement was made by Finance Minister Favour Williams Sunday night in Montego Bay, St. James, where the JLP officially launched its manifesto ahead of the upcoming general election. Mrs. Williams said the grant is aimed at easing the financial burden on tertiary students and encouraging more young Jamaicans to pursue higher education.
Government, we will be given a one-time annual grant of $100,000 to our students who are in good standing with their student loans. And we're doing this because we understand that many parents have been struggling to help their children through college.
The minister further noted that the $100,000 grant can be used in multiple ways.
The $100,000 to reduce the loan balance or use it to cover the cost of a laptop or books or use it to help to cover general living expenses.
With the People's National Party seemingly set on reclaiming the Western Hanover constituency from the JLP, Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness said the party will be in for a rude awakening come September 3rd. During a tour of Hanover on Friday, Dr. Holness stressed that the work of both JLP members of Parliament in Hanover is enough to erode the PNP's efforts. Kelisha Williams reports.
On Friday, the Jamaica Labour Party took its campaign activities to Hanover, seemingly a part of the party's strategy to hold on to both hotly contested constituencies in the parish.
There is a conventional thinking that there are some seats that are traditionally seats that the PNP had held, and that the pandemic would have somehow changed the voting pattern, which would lead to an anomalous situation where those seats that were traditionally held by the PNP were held now by the Jamaica Labour Party. I think that level of thinking has to be scrutinized very carefully. There is going to be some significant surprises.
For instance, the People's National Party has been looking to reclaim power in Western Hanover, which has proven to be a PNP stronghold for decades. But in 2020, the JLP's Tamika Davis broke the PNP's 30-year streak in the constituency.
There are seats that the PNP think that may come back to them, that those seats are going to be firmly rooted in the column of the Jamaica Labour Party. Because the truth is, the constituents there would have seen the work of the Member of Parliament and compare the work of the Member of Parliament to the previous PNP Members of Parliament, and would have to conclude that those MPs have worked very hard. As in Western Hanover, you would see that the MP that held the seat for the Jamaica Labour Party for 5 years would have done far more work than the PNP MP previously who held it for 30 years.
Kelisha Williams, TVJ News.
In the meantime, the People's National Party is predicting a major win in the upcoming elections. Senator Peter Bunting is also rubbishing claims by JLP's leader, Dr. Andrew Holness, that the party will retain the southern Manchester seat.
The race is on, and according to the experts, it's too close to call. In the latest Don Anderson polls conducted between August 2 and 11, respondents were asked, if the election were called no, which party would you vote for? 35% the PNP, 34% the JLP, 14% are still not sure, and 17% of respondents say they're not planning to vote. But in an interview with TVJ News on Thursday, the PNP's Peter Bunting provided a different perspective.
At the end of the day, it's not the national polls, it's a seat by seat. And when I have visited seats that haven't been traditional battleground seats that were considered the safer JLP seats, seats like Northeast Manchester, seats like South Trelawney, seats like Southwest St. Anne, even seats like Northwest St. Elizabeth, the response that I see there has quite frankly shocked me, because I did not know that the PNP had this underlying base of support in those constituencies.
Mr. Bunting, who's also the PNP's candidate for Southern Manchester, has been critical of the government's handling of crime. The JLP is critical of him for moving from one constituency to another after his 2020 election loss. The JLP also pulling all the stops to ensure he's defeated in the upcoming polls. JLP's leader, Dr. Andrew Holness, is confident in his candidate, Ian Ives. But for Mr. Bunting,
we have not seen a strong response to the Prime Minister's visit. I've said, he was wandering around Manchester and South Manchester in particular into the wee hours of the morning, like a lost soul, literally. It sort of gave a sort of ragtag or chaka-chaka appearance for a Prime Minister to rush into a seat the day after nomination. Clearly, it is the priority seat. And it is the sort of privileged position I'm accustomed to. I enjoyed that in 2011. And pretty much every election, the Jamaica Labour Party seems to focus on me.
Mr. Bunting is not only confident of his victory, but also the PNP's.
I would say the energy on the ground now far exceeds that in 2011 when we won 42 seats. So it would not surprise me if that's in the range of seats that we ended up with this time.
And Justice Minister Delroy Chuck is standing by his record over the past 5 years, defending how he managed the ministry. Krista Campbell has the details.
Before the general elections to elect a new government, and Justice Minister Delroy Chuck is defending his stewardship of the portfolio over the last 5 years.
When I came in, lawyers and people are owed money. Nobody's owed anything by the Ministry of It. And in fact, for the last 3-4 years, what has been allocated to us by government, we've been able to give them back after paying out all our indebtedness to the lawyers and so on. Our judges, when I came in 2016, were the poorest paid in the Caribbean. Now they're the best paid in the Caribbean.
On the issue of case backlogs, he said he's pleased with the significant reduction in the parish courts, but
the backlog in the Supreme Court is probably around, I'm not exactly sure, but it's too high, put it that way. And in the Court of Appeal, we still have a few hundred more cases to be done expeditiously. And we need to get to a situation where in the Supreme Court and the Court of Appeal, together, matters can be completed within 3 years. At the moment, I don't think we are even 50% there.
He wants the Director of Public Prosecutions to get more plea deals that will reduce court time and resolve cases faster. Plus,
we need to get the attorneys and the various processes to really get together in case management, put in all your files so that once a case is set for trial, it can be tried. But what is more important? Mediation should be used much more effectively at the higher level, at the Supreme Court level. Not in the criminal cases, but in the civil cases.
He was addressing the commissioning of new justices of the peace in St. Catherine on Thursday, where he also noted that the 42% reduction in murders across the country up to August 19 could be even higher if persons report known criminals to the authorities.
Far too many persons in Jamaica lack the courage to say, stop it. We know who we are. Give up the gun. Because over 70% of the murders every day, every month, every year is from the gun. So if we can stop people from giving up, from shooting and using the gun, you can see 70% of the crimes could be reduced.
Krista Campbell, TVJ News.
It's now time for the Business Minute.
Kintara Holdings' operating profit rose to $18.42 million in the second quarter, a 255% increase from $5.18 million last year. For the half-year period, operating profit grew to $29.81 million, up 342% from $6.75 million in the similar period last year. Now, net profit improved from a profit of $1.19 million in the second quarter of 2024 to $17.31 million million in the second quarter of this year, and from a loss of $1.22 million in the first half of the year 2024 to $25.84 million in the first half of 2025. According to Chairman and CEO Tyrone Wilson, the results reflect continued growth in the visual vibe advertising operations, disciplined expense management, and prudent allocation of capital to investment opportunities, both locally and internationally. Further afield, Chinese property giant Evergrande's shares were taken off the Hong Kong stock market on Monday after more than a decade and a half of trading. It marks a grim milestone for what was once China's biggest real estate firm, with a stock market valuation of more than $50 billion. That was before its spectacular collapse under the weight of the huge debts that had powered its meteoric rise. Experts say the delisting was both inevitable and final. For the Business Minute, I'm O'Shane Masters.
Thank you, O'Shane. It's now time for the top regional and international stories.
Guyana's two main political organizations have hinted at the possibility of violence marring the September 1 general and regional elections amid concerns of possible voting irregularities. Vice President and General Secretary of the ruling People's Progressive Party Civic PPPC, Dr. Barrett Jagdeo, told supporters on Sunday that the police and the army were prepared to crush any unrest following the results of the polls. Jagdeo said both he and presidential candidate Azruddin Mohammed had spoken about violence if the results are not in their favor. But a Partnership for National Unity leader Albert Norton, addressing a rally on Sunday, said he would not tolerate the PPPC clinging on to power if it loses next week's general and regional elections. Still in the region 2 days after an earthquake with a magnitude of 4.0 rattled St. Lucia, the Trinidad-based Seismic Research Center is reporting that the island was jolted by a 4.4 tremor on Sunday night. It said the latest quake was at a depth of 15 kilometers. It was felt 31 kilometers south of Fort-de-France, Martinique, and 112 kilometers south-southeast of Rousseau, the Dominican capital. The SRC said there were no reports of damage or injuries as a result of the latest quake.
We head to a quick break. When we come back, we'll have your midday sports report.